We're told that in the end days there would be false Christs who would appear, false apostles and so forth. And there is one who claims to be a Messiah of sorts, head of a UFO cult. We'll talk about that on this edition of SkyWatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert. Today, Tuesday, March the 8th, 2016. And our guest in studio, the producer, director of Torah Codes, End to Darkness, Richard Shaw. Richard. Rael, this is a guy that we've known of for quite some time, kind of watched this guy for, more than 10 years now, if I'm not mistaken.
He's one of several guys that say he's the Messiah.
Yeah. Former sports writer from France named Claude Vorilon is something of that nature. But he goes by Rael now, which is not coincidentally the name of the chief Egyptian god Ra, and then, of course, El, which was the chief god of the Canaanite pantheon, but also applied to Yahweh and, by the Hebrews. So it takes a little bit of hubris to apply that name to yourself.
More than a little.
Yes. But interestingly, in communications that you have regularly with the rabbis studying the Torah codes, looking for the equidistant letter sequences and finding messages encoded in the first 5 books of the Bible in the Hebrew text, Rael shows up. Apparently he's on God's radar.
Well, I think that they basically had done, they had involved the work of Rabbi Glazerson to try to prove that Rael is really who he says he is. And they did that kind of in a roundabout method. Now, I don't want to say that they were stretching the truth, but essentially they probably were.
Yeah.
They actually even used a photo of Rabbi Glazerson on their own site or in their own publications, as if Glazerson's Torah codes are proving that Rael is who he says he is. Well, of course, that didn't make Rabbi Glazerson very happy at all.
No.
So he went and did a serious table on Rael recently and sent it to me. And it says Lord Rael, which is what he calls himself. And attached to that at the bottom, it says liar, cheater, and Amalekite, which is, we know, like in the age of, Haman was an Amalekite and was kind of a turncoat.
Well, in the book of 1 Samuel, not eliminating the Amalekites is what made God tell Samuel, go talk to Saul and tell him he's getting the kingdom pulled from him. I'm giving it to David. Yeah. Because Saul didn't follow through on God's command to eliminate the Amalekites, because the Amalekites were the first people to attack the Israelites after they left Egypt.
Yeah.
So calling somebody an Amalekite is, from a Jewish perspective, that's a serious insult.
Well, yeah, I mean that.
And of course, because of Haman, then later in the story of Esther, wanted to kill all the Jews in the Persian kingdom.
Exactly. That word now is kind of attached to various evil people throughout history, including Hitler. They've kind of attached it to that. And Amalekites come up in other tables that the rabbis have sent me. One of them was really unusual because there were 3 Amalekites that came up in a table in the form of a swastika.
Oh, that's interesting.
Which was like, wow, that's really strange. Somewhere I have that still. I mean, we have hundreds of these tables, so it's like, if you ask me to pull one really fast, it takes me a second to find it. But it's really fascinating what's coming up in the Torah codes, and this person who's claiming to be the Messiah is kind of part of the Matthew 24 prophecy, that there will be those who say that they're the Messiah. He's in secret chambers, or always in the desert, and to not believe them.
Right.
Yeshua says.
Yeah. He claims that he was contacted by a group called the Elohim, which he interprets as plural. And of course, if anybody, you know anything at all about the Old Testament Hebrew, Elohim can be singular or plural depending on the context, like the word deer and deer, or sheep. It depends on the context.
Ufologists have latched onto that name, by the way. I mean, they kind of believe that during the creation, the Elohim was a group of beings that made man. Let us make man in our image. Yeah. They refer to that as the Elohim that did that. So there is that reference that maybe he's latched onto. I don't know. I don't want to infer that he has, but I know that has happened, and that people do say that.
Well, he may certainly have heard from some entity, but it certainly wasn't who they represented themselves to be, and certainly not of God.
Right.
They also claimed that they cloned the first child some years ago, and we've never seen any evidence of that.
Well, I'm trying to remember exactly, but I believe that Rael claims to have come down in that Jerusalem UFO that happened in 2011, which we proved in an earlier program of Watchers. In Watchers 2, we had a video, an analyst come in and look at that passage, and all of the videos were fake. They were basically cell phone recordings of Jerusalem at night with a composited shot of an orb coming down and then going back up. And they were both at different frame rates. That's how we could tell.
Ah, interesting.
Because cell phones don't record at as fast a frame rate as broadcast television does. So that's kind of how we could tell. So knowing that is all fake, then he is too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, sadly, he's got a real shock coming the moment after he takes his last breath on this earth.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit, because viewers will get a chance to see more discussion of the Torah codes in the upcoming episodes on SkyWatch TV. But you were also a business partner with L.A. Marzulli in the Watchers series of DVDs.
Right.
And you're working on Watchers 10 right now. And he was giving us some really tantalizing hints when he was here a couple of weeks ago about what's coming up in Watchers 10. Didn't divulge any specifics, but he said this is really big. Now, you guys have really done some very impressive work in terms of the content and also the quality, the visuals on the films. It is very, very professional.
Thank you.
Yeah. What is going to make Watchers 10 stand out the way L.A. said it was going to?
Well, without revealing what's actually coming out of the film, it will be a conclusion of several years of work that we've been doing. Information that we've been wanting to reveal and haven't been ready yet. And when it finally does come out, I think some people will be really shocked, including some interviews from people that have had personal experiences with various entities that can't even reveal their own, we can't show their faces on camera. And one of them actually wants me to disguise his voice as well, because they could get in trouble for revealing what they know. That'll be in there, as well as some really interesting creatures that, I mean, it's, I know how crazy this sounds to people. Oh, they're just trying to make money off of film. I mean, this is what you read on YouTube, in the comments. They're just horrible comments.
That's
sometimes.
why we close the comments on our YouTube channel.
I mean, it's truly a lot of research to do this and to explain it properly and to do all of the scientific background on it. It's the real deal. We're not trying to trick anyone or fool anyone or present anything that isn't true. And all I can say is Watchers 10 will be a bombshell when it comes out.
Well, we'll look forward to having you and L.A. out when that's
That'd be
ready
great.
to go.
Love to.
Richard Shaw will be a guest on a couple of episodes of SkyWatch TV coming up probably in the month of April, but keep an eye on the website for details. Again, the film is Torah Codes, End to Darkness, and you can find that at Richard's website, endtodarkness.com. This week on SkyWatch TV, very special broadcast. Nita Horn shares some of the incidents in her life that inspired her new memoir, No Fences. And it is an inspiring story because it's a reminder that even for those of us who don't think anything significant, special, earth-moving has happened in our lives, we all have a story to tell. God has a plan and a direction for all of us. You can see that twice today. Today being Tuesday. You'll see it on the Victory Television Network at 6:30 p.m. Central Time tonight. The Christian Television Network, coast to coast on satellite TV, 8:30 p.m. tonight. Again, Nita Horn talking about the book No Fences. Tomorrow afternoon on the Cornerstone Network, 3:30 p.m. Central. And then this coming Saturday, Victory Television Network, 3:30 p.m. The Christian Television Network, 7:30 p.m. And as you'd probably guess, television time is expensive, so we depend on your support. During the month of March, for your financial gift of $20 or more while supplies last, a gift from us to you that is very timely given the recent passing of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. The fight over his replacement is due any day and will dominate the headlines for months to come, I'm sure. Two men who are leading the fight to preserve the U.S. Constitution, which has been under attack, Alan Sears and former ambassador and presidential candidate Alan Keyes. Their DVD titled America's Courts, Progress and Peril. That plus this keepsake wall plaque, yours for your support during the month of March, your gift of $20 or more. And for instructions on how to donate, log on to skywatchtv.com/donate. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions, send those to me at dgilbert@skywatchtv.com. And thank you for watching. As we keep watch, I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.
From the time she was little, Nita dreamed of horses. Every childhood fantasy rode on the back of a heroic white steed, coming to save the day.
I don't know how long I've had this love in my heart for horses. It's just always been there. And when we were little girls, my sister and I would play all day long. I was always the white horse and she was always the little pink pig.
Let's pretend Lightning and Rosie can fly.
But everything changed in a heartbeat. On December 9th, 1971, a tragic car accident claimed the life of my dad and my best friend and my little sister. And I wondered after that if there was anything left to believe in.
Move aside, let the ambulance through. Please move aside.
As a child of 13, I felt like I had lost practically everything. And I wondered, is this it? I mean, where do I go from here? I could not have imagined back then how God could use horses, of all things, to restore my faith and vision for the future.
Starting April 19th, get your copy of Nita Horn's inspirational new book, No Fences, and learn for the first time her amazing story of loss, survival, determination, and healing. How the vision and love God gave her for these beautiful and majestic animals eventually led to the 150-acre Whispering Ponies Ranch, a general retreat facility, as well as a premier training location that specializes in using and gifting therapeutic animals to benefit the herding. Other care facilities, schools, and ministries across the nation.
When God puts something in your heart, it's there for a lifetime.